Okay, we've all been there, right? You give an AI what you think is a complex, important problem, and you get back something that's just meh, generic, unhelpful, or sometimes just flat out wrong. Well, today, we're going to move past that frustration. We're going from asking basic questions to having advanced conversations, all to unlock how AI can really help us tackle the tricky, ambiguous challenges we all face at work.
So let's start right there with that feeling of frustration. You ask an AI to help you figure out a multi-step project issue, and it just falls apart. So why is that? It's really easy to think, oh, the tool's not good enough. But what if the problem isn't the tool? What if it's how we're using it? Complex challenges have all these competing priorities and tough trade-offs, and that kind of stuff requires way more than just a simple question and answer.
And this right here, this is the key. The secret to unlocking the AI's real power isn't about finding some kind of magic prompt. It's about completely changing our approach. We need to shift from expecting one single, perfect answer to guiding the AI through a structured thinking process. So it's less about asking a question and a whole lot more about having a conversation. So let's really dig into this idea, what we're calling the conversational shift. This is the fundamental change in mindset that separates a basic user from an advanced one. And honestly, it's the very first step to getting truly powerful results.
This slide just lays it out so perfectly. The basic method, over on the left, it's kind of like shouting a super complicated order at a busy chef and just hoping for the best. But the advanced method on the right, that's more like being a project manager. You don't solve everything in one single meeting, right? No, you refine your understanding bit by bit, you adjust based on feedback, and you guide the whole process. That is exactly how we need to start interacting with AI.
All right, so with that new mindset in place, let's get practical. We are going to build your toolkit right now with 6 specific, actionable techniques that you can start using immediately to have way more productive conversations with any AI. First up is something called prompt chaining. Now, I know that sounds like a fancy technical term, but it's actually something we all do naturally. It's just breaking a huge, overwhelming problem into smaller, more manageable steps. You ask the AI to solve step 1, then you take that answer and you use it as the starting point for step 2, and so on and so on. And this is a brilliant illustration of how it works in the real world. Instead of one giant, overloaded prompt like, "Give me a full risk analysis for my project," you guide the AI. First, you just ask it to identify the potential risks. Simple enough. Then, using that list it just gave you, you ask it to analyze their impact. And finally, you ask for some mitigation strategies, but only for the highest priority risks. See, each step is focused, it's more accurate, and the whole thought process is way more transparent. Next up, iterative refinement. And here's a really crucial point. The first answer you get from an AI is almost never the final answer. You gotta know that. Advanced users, they treat that first response like a first draft. It's just a starting point that you can then review, critique, and improve by adding more context or just clarifying your instructions. Think about it like this. A vague prompt is like using a big, wide-beam flashlight. Sure, it lights up a little bit of everything, but nothing is very clear. Asking the AI to simply summarize project risks is that flashlight. But a refined prompt, like focus only on schedule and vendor-related risks, and please use a concise executive tone, well, that's like a laser beam. It's focused, it's precise, and it gives you exactly what you need. Now for one of my absolute favorites, persona-based prompting. This is where you actually tell the AI who it should be. By giving it a role, you can completely change its perspective, its reasoning, its tone, everything. It's an incredibly powerful way to pressure test your own ideas before you have to walk into a real meeting with actual human stakeholders. And you can get really, really specific with this. For instance, you could ask the AI to act as your company's CFO, focusing only on the budget implications, or ask it to be a risk management expert who's looking for compliance issues. But one of the most powerful uses? Ask it to be a skeptical stakeholder, someone who is actively looking for holes in your plan. This helps you anticipate objections and really strengthen your arguments before you're in the hot seat. This specific prompt is just pure gold. You're essentially asking the AI to find the weaknesses in your own work for you. This lets you proactively address those concerns before you're standing in front of your actual executive sponsor. It's like having a full dress rehearsal for a really tough conversation. Let's be real, complex projects are all about making tough choices between imperfect options. So our fourth technique, comparative and trade-off analysis, uses AI to bring some much-needed structure to these big decisions. It helps make the trade-offs really explicit, and it can even highlight those tricky second-order effects that you might have totally missed otherwise. And this is exactly what it looks like in practice. Instead of just endlessly debating, you can ask the AI to lay out the options in a structured table, just like this one. What are the risks, the benefits, the long-term impacts of each choice? All of a sudden, a messy, emotional decision becomes a much clearer, data-driven comparison.
Our fifth technique is particularly clever. It's called quality check prompts. And what you do here is you ask the AI to act as its own peer reviewer. So after it generates an analysis for you, you follow up by asking it to critique its own work. You can ask things like, are there any logical gaps here? Any hidden biases I should know about? What assumptions did you make? It's like having a built-in safety net for all your work.
And our final technique is all about using AI to improve your foresight. It's called surfacing blind spots. Because AI has been trained on just these vast amounts of data, it's seen patterns across countless projects. So you can tap into that massive pool of knowledge to challenge your own optimism and identify risks that are commonly overlooked in your specific situation. This prompt is just a perfect example of that. You're not just asking for a list of risks. You're asking for the ones that people like you tend to underestimate. See the difference? This shifts the AI from being a simple information retriever to a genuine partner in broadening your perspective.
So, we've covered all the how-to techniques. Now, let's talk about how to integrate them into a realistic workflow, and always remember that the AI is your co-pilot, not the pilot. You're still flying the plane.
This workflow is so key because it shows the clear division of labor. The AI helps with the heavy lifting up front, right? Starting the conversation, breaking the problem down, exploring different personas, refining the output. But notice where the process ends. The absolutely crucial steps of validation and making the final decision, those always remain with you. The AI assists, but you own the outcome.
And just to be crystal clear, there are some really firm boundaries here. Never, ever delegate the final decision to an AI. And don't use it just to find data that confirms a decision you've already made. That's just confirmation bias. And please, never treat its output as some kind of infallible expert authority. The AI is a powerful tool to support your thinking, not replace it.
This brings us to our final and I think most important section. Because while all of these techniques can certainly make you more efficient, the real goal here is something much bigger than just speed.
Ultimately, advanced prompting isn't about getting answers faster. It's about thinking better. It makes your own thought process more structured, more rigorous, and way more transparent. It forces you to break down problems and consider alternatives in a really disciplined way. In short, AI can make your own reasoning visible to you.
And look, if you take only one thing away from our time together, please let it be this. This is the bottom line. AI is an incredibly powerful partner in the thinking process, a co-pilot that can help you navigate complexity, but it never ever replaces human judgment, accountability, and leadership.
So I'll leave you with this question to think about. In your own work, right now, which decision feels the most complex, the most mentally heavy? That's your prime opportunity. That's the perfect place to stop asking a single question and start having a conversation.